It's recording.
Hey everybody, welcome in. We're Blind Faith Resellers, and this is our first YouTube video. You'll probably be able to tell that very quickly. I'm Rhonda.
And I'm Harry.
He's the other half.
The better.
The better. Oh, well, here we go. You're probably going to see a whole lot more of me than you are of him because he's a little more camera shy. He can talk to anybody in person, but I can talk to anybody, anything, the phone, the wall, doesn't matter. I'm a storyteller. It's just who I am. So he's not a real tech savvy person and doesn't really enjoy that. He's the field operations manager, the FOM. So that means
Harry is the FMO.
FOM.
FOM too.
And
have many titles.
And that means that you
are not in charge.
So he's the guy that's cleaning up stuff, and he does a little bit of the research and finding things. Now our eBay business is a little bit different than most people because we don't really have to go out and source anything. We've already got it right here, and I'll explain to you why in just a little bit. But it's yes, it's his fault. It's his fault. But here we are, years later, realizing that there was some benefit to his gathering. So.
Oh, did we gather?
Oh, we gathered. So now he also probably wants you to know that eyelashes are not the norm for him.
No. Rockstar makeup is not me.
But I don't know how to separate it because I wanted a filter. And so because I have a filter, he's got a filter too. He really doesn't wear fake eyelashes or makeup. But anyway, we just wanted to share this journey with you guys, and you're gonna see this raw and real because I don't really know how to edit things, so there's not a whole lot that you're gonna miss out on that's really happening behind the scenes here. You may even see us doing some good old-fashioned Midwest bickering with each other because we've been married for a long time, so we deserve a difference of opinion occasionally. And we have it occasionally, so you're probably going to see it. But we do a lot of laughing, too, as you can tell.
Yes.
So I hope you...
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually. So I hope you enjoy this journey with us. And there's something else you'd like to say before we jump in and tell our story about who we are and why we're here?
No, not really. You pretty much covered it. Looking forward to probably a crazy ride, but we'll see what happens. So look forward to seeing you on the next video.
All right. So we'll just jump in. So Harry had some things to do. He's scrambling around trying to pick up a Christmas gift for me that I wasn't able to have shipped for one of our grandkids. So this is our story. We are a retired husband and wife team. We've been together for about 25 years. We live in the Midwest. We have 3 grown kids. Our youngest daughter is 36. Our son is 40. Our oldest daughter is 42. They each have 2 kids. So we have 6 grandkids and 1 great-grandbaby. Our grandkids range in age from 6 to 21. The oldest one, the 21-year-old, just got married a couple months ago, so I guess his wife now is our grandchild also, so I guess we have 7 grandkids. And then we have our youngest daughter's boyfriend has a little boy, so we have to throw him in the mix. So I guess we have 8 grandkids and 1 great grandbaby. We have kind of a varied background. Harry was in the construction industry. He was a union laborer for a long time. When we got together, we took real estate courses together, and construction was breaking his body down. So I kind of decided that we were going to become realtors. I worked in an office as the secretary, office manager, whatever you want to call it, for a real estate firm, small family-owned firm. And we got our license, and I told my boss, I'm only going to do the secretary job for about 6 months until I can be your top agent instead. So, and that's literally what we did. I've been in sales all my life, and it was just a natural thing for me, you know, to get into the real estate industry. And at that time, we were about to go into the big foreclosure crash, and we wanted to take advantage of that. We live in a really small town in the Midwest, and, you know, there wasn't anybody else that was really making that their niche market. So I studied and learned everything I could about foreclosures and how to be a foreclosure listing agent for banks and government entities, and that's the direction that we headed. So to try to capture the rest of the money that came along with that, Harry started a preservation company. And so he worked for me, and he worked directly for some of the banks, and he worked for other real estate agents who listed foreclosures. And he would go and do the initial inspection and talk to the people if they were still there. He would go to the evictions. He would do all the things out in the field. That was a very labor-intensive type of real estate because the banks required a lot of us on a weekly basis. We had to go every week, take all new photographs of the property while they were just sitting there before they were ever listed, and like 100 pictures, and fill out inspection reports and do valuations and all the things. So Harry was the guy out in the field. He's kind of always had the field operation management position. And I listed the properties, and he had a real estate license too, but he really didn't do anything as far as, you know, writing listings or writing contracts, doing any of that kind of stuff. If he was in an area and I had a buyer that wanted to look at a property, he would occasionally show a property for me, but he didn't know anything about the paperwork or how to fill it out or any of that kind of stuff. So we started at this little Century 21 office here in our hometown, and then after a few years, we branched off and opened our own real estate agency, and we did that for a number of years. I was very successful. I was kind of the queen of foreclosures in this area. And Harry's preservation company, the other things that he did, he changed the locks, he cut the grass, he winterized the plumbing, and he cleaned out the houses. And people left a lot of stuff in those houses, which Harry brought home. I mean, at one time we had a 40 by 60 pole barn and a storage unit in town, and our little pole barn behind our house, and our basement, and our family room, and all kinds of other nooks and crannies in our house that were filled with other people's stuff that he brought home. And So that's why our journey is a little bit different than most people who are eBay resellers, is that we don't have to go out and source things. We don't have to go to yard sales. We don't have to go to thrift shops or estate sales. We've got all the stuff right here. And for some reason, he acquired like an emotional attachment to these things. And I've been begging him for years that we need to do something with this stuff. We got to get rid of some of this stuff. A lot of it we haven't seen for 20 years. It's been boxed up. And what good is it doing us? Why are we hanging on to this stuff? And, finally, we just had to just really sit down and have a hard conversation about my anxiety and stress of living in the middle of all this stuff. It's really, really frustrating to me. It really stresses me out. And, I said, look, this stuff isn't doing us any good. It's doing nothing for us, and it's got to go. Our kids don't want any of this stuff. Now, some of the stuff that we have is not really other people's stuff. When my mom passed away, I have all of her stuff. My dad is in a nursing home. And so I have all of his stuff. Plus, there's other things that we have received from relatives over the years. There's things that we have received as gifts from people that, we either couldn't use or we have used, but now we no longer need that item. We've just got a lot of stuff. And I said, our kids don't want to mess with this stuff when we're dead. This would be horrific for our kids to have to come in here and figure out what to do with all of this. And I said, so, let's just start an eBay store. So, long story short, that's what we did. We started an eBay store. And I got to back up just a little bit, because as the foreclosure crisis came to an end, we had some really good years. We were very successful in that industry. And as that came to an end, we were trying to move back into traditional real estate. But the problem was I branded myself so well as the foreclosure queen that when I would talk to people about listing their house, I would hear things like, we would love to list our house with you, but we're afraid if you put your sign in our yard that our neighbors are going to think we're in foreclosure, because my brand was all about foreclosure. So I got it. I understood. And what we had to do was we had to kind of rebrand ourselves. We had, for the longest time, 130 to 150 foreclosure listings in our inventory at one time. And when things started to straighten out, which was wonderful for the economy and the general public, it was devastating to us because we weren't getting those niche listings anymore. So we actually dissolved our corporation, and Harry retired from real estate at that point. This was about maybe 10 years ago. But I put my license with another agency and kind of had to rebrand again. And that was all going just swell. However, one day I came out of a business meeting and stood in the parking lot talking to one of my coworkers and saw this glowing pink holographic thing on the side of his head filled with all these little twinkly lights. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. That progressed into some other weird visual things, and I went to the eye doctor the next day, and they did all the tests, and she sent me straight to the hospital, where they admitted me for a week and proceeded to do about 300 different tests on me. And the optic nerves in my left eye had been damaged by inflammation in my brain. They knew what caused the damage. They didn't know where the inflammation came from, and they were not able to stop it. So in my left eye, I really have no vision in that eye. It's like I have light perception, and I can see things moving if they're within a foot or two away from me, but I can't really make out anything. It's like looking through a piece of wax paper. So when that happened, I also lost my depth perception, and I wasn't able to drive anymore. But Harry drove me to all my appointments. I still had my right eye. I could still, use my computer and fill out paperwork and do all the things. I just didn't have the depth perception. So it wasn't safe for me to drive. But he took me around and, drove me to every place I needed to go because he was retired at that point. So all was good for 6 months. And after 6 months, I started having issues with my right eye. And not the same. It was a totally different. It was just everything was very blurry. I couldn't focus on anything. And I thought it was just eye strain because that was the only eye that I had left, But I went back to the eye doctor. She did all the tests. And again, sent me straight to the hospital. And again, they admitted me, and the same thing was happening. I had inflammation in my brain. It cut off the blood flow to my optic nerves and killed them. Now, in this eye, my vision is different than in this eye. I have about 10 to 15% of my vision left, but it is random little spots all around that I can see, but nothing is clear, nothing is defined, and the other areas are just like whited out. So this is the tool that I use on a regular basis to, I can hold my phone up close to my face and then put the magnifying glass up to my eye, and that's how I go through the day. So using the computer is a little bit of a struggle for me, but I have a giant computer screen, and I have the letters enlarged. Everything is magnified, and it is what it is. So it can't be fixed. They can't tell me if I'm going to lose the rest of my vision. They don't know what caused the inflammation after over 300 tests. So here we are. But I had some major meltdowns and didn't know what I was going to do. I had to completely retire from real estate because I couldn't see the paperwork. It was rough, and I wasn't ready to retire. But after a couple of weeks and giving myself some grace and doing a lot of meditation and practicing gratitude and manifestation and affirmation, I knew that I still had a purpose in life, and I just needed to find it. I've always been an educator, and I love sharing knowledge with other people. I'm a constant learner, and so what I rediscovered was art. I've been an artist all my life, but always a very realistic type artist. I did portraits in pencil and charcoal etching, pen and inks, oils and acrylics, very realistic type things, landscapes, people, pets, that kind of stuff. I can't do that now because I can't get close enough to the canvas and I can't see what I'm doing, and it's hard for me to use pens and brushes and things like that. But I discovered something else called fluid art, and I jumped in 150%, learning, watching YouTube videos, and practiced, and got very good at that, and learned all the science behind that and the chemistry and all the things. So right now, aside from this eBay thing, I have some of my artwork in a curated gallery here locally, and I also have signed prints there. I'm getting ready to go into another gallery locally, and then another gallery in the southern part of our state. I teach art workshops a couple of times a month, and that's all very satisfying. It brings me so much joy and so much independence. However, when I had to retire from real estate, and Harry was retired, so he was getting Social Security, I was getting nothing. And, as a successful realtor, I was a six-figure income earner for a lot of years. And so we after, it took 18 months for me to get disability. I'll just put that out there. Because now I'm 65. When this all happened, I was 61. And I couldn't drive. We live in a rural area, so I don't have public transportation. I was still trying to acclimate to computers and my phone, and learn about the resources out there for people that are visually impaired, the accessibility options. And I applied at all kinds of places, knowing that the only kind of job I could do would be from home, because I didn't have transportation to get back and forth to a job. I haven't had a job working for somebody else for over 40 years. I've always been self-employed. I owned an insurance agency before I met Harry. We were both married before we met each other 25 years ago. And, I've been in sales and a commission-only type person, but I've always made a really good living because I'm a relationship person, salesperson, not a pushy salesperson. So, anyway, it was a struggle, and we had to find a whole new lifestyle. So, we had a farm that we were getting ready to build a new home on, and we had to sell that. We had a rental property. We had to sell that. Fortunately, we didn't have car payments. Our trucks had both been paid off for a long time. But we had to learn how to live a whole lot differently than what we had been used to for the last 20 years. And, just little simple things like buying groceries. I had to change the whole way I buy groceries. And there is no eating out anymore. So, anyway, we needed a source of income aside from Social Security and disability. And we've got this wealth of stuff right here. And so we want to take you on this journey with us. We have been doing this for 90 days. And we have learned a lot already. Again, YouTube videos. other resellers have taught me so much about how to be a reseller, the things to do, the things not to do, how to set up your store, how to enter the listings. AI has been a huge resource for me. It's been such a help because it can literally create the listings for me. I don't have to type them in. All I have to do is copy and paste. Not all of it, you know, there's still some things I have to fill in, but most of it is like drop down type, just, you know, multiple choice, pick this or this. So we have done fairly well, I think. I have listed at this point almost 150 items in these 90 days. And our gross sales have been about $1,800. We have sold 23 items. So our listed to sold ratio, our sold ratio is about 18%, which from everything I've looked at, that's pretty good for a brand new reseller. So I've been really pleased with the way that things have worked out. Now, this room that we're sitting in right now, well, it's me, it's just me now. This was my home office for real estate for 20 years. I went on a mad, frenzied renovation of the room kind of a thing that took me about 2 weeks. I couldn't believe how much paper and stuff I had accumulated over 20 years. So we moved things around, we cleared the whole room out, moved things around, turned my big desk with the hutch, which I don't know if you can see that back there. That is, I've got supplies stuck in there. That's my packing table back there. It's behind this photo box. I just used some of that foam poster board and made myself a photo box. Underneath of there, there's just 2 totes that is sitting on top of, so that it's the right level, so I can just roll over there with my chair. This is not a big room. It's like a 9 by 10, and it's pretty much a tight squeeze in here. So let me see if I can just kind of take you around here a little bit. I don't know if I can. This, because I can't really see what I'm doing. There's a shelf here. These are things that are currently listed. There's my photo box. You can kind of see my hutch back there. My digital scale is back there, my tape, all the things like that. Here is my desk that I use, my workstation desk, my big screen. Over here we have another shelf unit. These are things that need to excuse me. These are things that need to be listed. I've got a bunch of junk on there. That's just like need to be listed right away, because trust me, I still have a garage, a pole barn, and a basement full of other stuff, big stuff, lots of stuff. But these are get them listed immediately kind of things. I got a couple of boxes down here. Whoop! I lost you. Sorry about that. You fell off. Got some boxes down here on the ground. I got file cabinets over here. Whoops, I'm probably making you really dizzy. There are things in those file cabinets like phones and chargers and cameras and things like that that are stored in there. I've got my printer over there. Let me see. Here's the totes that the photo box is sitting on top of. I've got some other little storage things over here that you can see that I have supplies in. So that big purple board right there, that is actually a piece of, I gotta figure out how to put this phone back on here again. Bear with me here for just a second. That is actually going to be my clothing photo board. Let me see if I can figure out how to put this back on here without messing anything up too bad. Oh, okay. It's moving. Okay. I'm going to cover that with some cloth that I have, and that's going to be where I hang clothing to photograph it, because the only way I've been able to photograph clothing so far is to lay it out on my dining room floor, and it's really a pain in the butt, so I don't want to have to do it that way anymore. I want something where I can actually hang the clothing on a hanger in front of this board. Once I get that done, we'll make another video and I'll show you how we do that. And I learned that little trick from another YouTuber. I've learned so much from other YouTubers, and I'm so grateful that other people are actually out there making these kinds of videos, especially for beginners like us. And you know, it's just, it's been a lot of fun, and it's something that we can do together, and it can be a side hustle to actually generate some extra income. Now, we haven't taken any of that income to use for ourselves. We opened a whole separate account, checking account for eBay specifically, and I would strongly recommend that you do the same. Don't commingle your funds together. So we just opened it with $100, you know, just a very basic little checking account. So supplies, we purchase out of that account so that we can keep track. We also have another program that we use called Flipwise that was created by another reseller, Justin. And, you know, it helps us to manage our eBay account. eBay provides you with a lot of information, but Flipwise gives you just a better overall snapshot of where you're at with your finances. There's a ledger. You can track your mileage there, you know, and every time Harry takes things to the post office to ship them, we can add that in there to track our mileage. Anytime I have to buy supplies, whether it was my first initial purchase was my digital scale. I love this digital scale. It's fabulous. It was like $30. And you really can't do this without a digital scale. You've got to be able to weigh things, and you've got to be able to measure things so that when you input your listing, you have an idea of what the shipping cost is going to be for that item. Now, once that sells and you actually box that up and put your packing material in, you know, maybe you overestimated. And if so, that's okay if you overestimated on the listing, especially if the buyer is paying the shipping, because say, you know, it was $6.25 is what it says on your listing, that the lowest shipping, and that's what that buyer paid because they were pretty close to you. But when you actually box it up, you were able to fit it into a smaller box, and it really didn't weigh quite that much. And now that you have put it in the box and you've reweighed it after it's taped up and ready to go. And now when you input that corrected information into the system so that you can print your shipping label, now you see that that really only cost, I don't know, $5, we'll say. Well, the buyer already paid $6.25. So that difference, that $1.25, excuse me, is going to come back as a credit to you. Okay, so on the flip side of that, if you underestimate, you're going to pay the difference. The buyer is paying what it says on the listing. You're going to pay the difference if it's more than that. So just keep that in mind when you're calculating your estimated weights and measurements for your listings. Keep that in mind and always round up. Just always round up just to be on the safe side. Always add a little bit of extra weight just because you don't want to end up paying a big chunk of money for excess shipping fees. The second thing, which I already had this, so I didn't have to purchase this, but the second thing, which you don't have to have this, but oh my God, it's so handy, it makes things so much easier, is a thermal printer to print your labels with. I'm going to show you mine. Maybe if I can do it without dropping this off of here again. This is my thermal printer right here, and it takes the accordion type labels. It's the 4x6 labels that, you know, when I say print a label, it just zip, prints it real quick. I just tear it off of there, peel the back off, stick it on the package. It's so easy, you guys. But you don't have to spend money on that when you get started. You can use a regular printer and just print it on a regular sheet of paper, cut it out, tape it onto your box. That works just fine too. You don't have to replace ink in these thermal printers. All you have to do is replace the sheets when you run out. I want to say I bought that a couple years ago for something else that I was shipping a lot of things with. I want to say it was probably $60. I can't remember exactly. But the other thing eBay does, eBay offers discounted shipping when you go through eBay. Instead of taking it to the post office and having them weigh it and measure it and sell you a label, if you use eBay shipping, you get a discounted rate on your shipping. Same thing with UPS and FedEx too. There's discounted rates there. So always, always, always use eBay shipping. But the other thing, when you go in and create a shipping label, if you're using eBay shipping, it will also generate a QR code. And as soon as you hit purchase that shipping label, you can print the QR code right from that screen, but eBay will also email you the QR code. And then you can just take your box that's all sealed up to the post office, take out your phone, open that email, let the post office scan that QR code, and then they'll print the label for you. You've already paid for it if you offer free shipping, or if you have buyer paid shipping, your buyer has already paid for it, so you don't have to give any money to the post office. So eBay also takes care of sales tax. So that's a wonderful thing. You don't have to mess with sales tax. You know, that makes it so much easier too. I hear little noises at my door. I don't know if it's my husband trying to get in or my cat. I think it's my cat. So anyway, what else do I want to talk about? I feel like I've just talked about myself, but Harry always finds things to do. Of course, before I lost my vision, we had this farm and he stayed busy on the farm. It was 30 acres. And so he was always on his tractor or, doing something at the farm after he retired from real estate. Now, where we live, which we've been here for 23 or 24 years, there's still a lot to do here. And organizing and categorizing and cleaning all this stuff we have, he stays busy because we have a lot of stuff. Now, our eBay store is an everything store. We have vintage clothes because I am a clothes hoarder. I have to be honest and admit that. I'm sorry you hear this little scratching. My cat is desperately wanting to come in here with me. I have clothes from the 70s still, when I was a little tiny thing, and I look at those and I'm like, well, good Lord, how did I ever fit into those? But, yeah, so, and I still have shoes from then too. And so we have everything from vintage clothing to vintage kitchen and cookware, current day kitchen and cookware. We have glassware. We have music. We have cameras. We have phones. We have computer products. We have video games. We have. I'm just kind of looking around here. We just have so much stuff. And mostly what we've put out there has been small stuff for now. And I'm trying to decide the bigger things, the heavier things. It's expensive to ship those. We may move over into Facebook Market where we do actual in-person pickup just to save on shipping cost for everybody. And there's no fees, to sell things on Facebook Market because eBay does charge you a fee. And why is my camera dying? Okay, I'm going to have to pause this for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, so I had my phone plugged in, but it was dying. So we're back. I don't even know where I left off at. So Harry stays very, very busy. He's a huge part of what we do. We have to do this as a team because we have an enormous inventory of things. We have to treat this like a job, which is easy for me to do because I've been self-employed for so many years that I understand that you have to commit so much time to things. I have a Google Pixel phone that I use to take photos of our items that we're listing because my Google Pixel is very much set up for people with accessibility needs. And so I can hold that phone and it will tell me virtually, audibly tell me, move your phone to the left and up slightly, move your phone this way. It'll say hold still and then it'll count down 3, 2, 1 before it automatically takes the picture. So that makes it so much easier for me to be able to get things in frame and get them centered. And then eBay has a feature when you upload the pictures that you can edit pictures and give them a white background. eBay likes white backgrounds. And then it'll also let you rotate or crop. It's a pretty basic editing feature. Speaking of editing, you're not going to see a lot of editing on here because I can put clips together. I can cut out some stuff, but I don't know how people, like put their picture of what their sales were up on the screen for you to view. I don't know how to do that. I'm going to try to learn. I'm pretty sure my grandson can help me with that because he's a 17-year-old computer whiz. So I'm going to see if he can maybe help me figure out how, or maybe he can just help me with it. I don't know. So what are you gonna, why should you stick around? Why should you subscribe? But please do. Like, subscribe, share, all the things that everybody tells you to do. That would be wonderful because we are just getting started and have no freaking clue what we're doing. So we're going to be raw and real here. You could tell by the beginning of this video that we're people that like to have fun. We really do like nip at each other occasionally, but we take it all lightheartedly. We get over it if, it's just part of life. It's part of marriage. It's part of relationships. But I want to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. I want to share our mistakes that we have learned the hard way. And we've already made some of those in these first 90 days. But it is what it is. And, I want to walk you through the steps of how to get started, especially, if you're a retired person and you need some extra income. I think everybody probably has stuff just laying around their house, and that's how they can start. And then if you go to a yard sale and maybe you spend $10, but maybe you can get a return on that $10 of $100. I mean, you don't have to spend a whole lot of money to get started. Save your boxes, or go to the dollar store and see if they have any boxes. Save the packing stuff that comes in your boxes. I have a huge supply of Amazon boxes down in my basement. They are in no particular order. It's just a mountain of boxes that we have to dig through every time. That's something. Other stuff, I'm organized. It may not look like it from the little view that I gave you, but because of my vision, I have to be organized. That's why I think a lot of the reason why all this stuff really stresses me, because I have to know where everything is because I can't necessarily see it. And if you move it, I'm not going to be a happy girl because I know where this thing is located at. And if I go there to get this thing and it's not there, I'm probably going to be pissed. So, Harry, yeah, he's still working on that. He's had a huge adjustment to make, just like I have. It's been an adjustment for both of us, but he is my biggest supporter. He's my ride or die. He's my ride. He's just my ride because I have no other way to get myself any place. Our kids don't live close to us, so it's not like, and we really don't have neighbors here either. So it's not like I could just call my kid and say, hey, can you come run me to Walmart? Because they can't. They live an hour away. So Harry is, he is my rock, and I love him dearly, and I really, really appreciate all the things that he does for me, to look out for me. So, okay, I'm done with all that mushy stuff. But why subscribe to this channel? Well, because we're fun. Because that's it. We're just fun, So if you got nothing else to do and you're bored, just, come on here and see what kind of crazy stuff we have to say. But I want to be able to share, you know, some things we've learned, some organizational tips, share with you some other YouTubers that we've learned so much from, show you what we've sold, show you what new things we're listing, share our mistakes and ways to not make them yourself, give you, you know, a behind the scenes reality of what this new life is like. And yeah, so if you want to join us, you know, the name has meaning and purpose for us. Blind Faith Resellers. Okay, blind, pretty obvious where the blind part came from. The faith part is, you know, this was a leap of faith for us to jump into this whole idea of becoming an eBay reseller. So, and it was kind of blind faith, no pun intended on that, but we didn't know how this was going to turn out. We're extremely happy. I'm also going to link down as I talk about the different things that we use, the supplies that we use, things like the scale and the thermal printer and the type of packing supplies and different things that we use in our business. I'll share those things with you too. So if you want to follow along, subscribe, like, drop us a comment, tell us what you think. Let's get to know each other a little bit. I will try my best. Sometimes it's harder for me to read comments on the phone, but you know, harder for me to type back. I do talk to text a lot. That doesn't always work out so good because sometimes it just says whatever it wants to, but you know, you might get a laugh out of it, that's for sure. All right, so that's it for today. I don't know what my next video is going to be about. I haven't got that far yet, but I'm going to get organized on that. I'm going to make a calendar of content and do it that way. So anyway, you guys, thanks so much. If you've hung around this long to listen to me jabber, thank you so much, and I hope we'll see you again soon. Just remember my motto: you don't need sight to have vision. See you next time.